Frick, I want to go. Somebody in, coach.
Toni wants to go. She wants to go play fours. So
I want to go play football, actually. Give me some pads.
I want to play fours. Savvy, I want to play football.
Well, it's January. January's four season anyway.
That's true.
But
It is.
for our listeners, we were having such a good conversation off the record that we just decided. I made the executive decision. Tries out. So I'm executive producer of SANDCAST today with Toni Rodriguez.
Heck yeah.
And we were just talking about the college football national championship game, which by the time that this podcast comes out will be over. But so there's four.
Any bets on who wins?
So I was looking at the lines today because I'm going to the game and I can't attend a game without betting. It's just because I don't care about either team. It's just you got to make it interesting. And so
You have someone to cheer for.
Georgia's favored by 12.5, which is a massive amount of points.
Yeah.
And then the over-under is 63, which is also a lot of points. And so I don't know. But
I say go for the underdog.
I'm currently $119 in the hole to my friend from last weekend, so I need to bet $120. I'm doubling down.
Double down. Double down.
Down.
Oh my gosh. I know, I forgot it was tomorrow.
Yeah.
Everyone's all like, we were trying to figure out our day tomorrow because this will
Supposed
be
to
out.
rain. Shocker.
The rain has been an issue for us in California to play volleyball.
Yeah.
But
Which I'm cool with it in the off season because I'm like, oh, they'll keep me off the sand for a little while longer. That's actually what I'm terrified about this force thing tomorrow is I have not jumped since Central Florida. One time.
Amazing. You're going to be amazing.
I'm going to be terrible.
It's perfect.
But yeah, so this force thing that ESPN's doing this like college game day style tailgate.
Yeah.
And so I got a call from Madison McKibben, and he's like, we're doing a fours. Mark Paolui is building a beach court in front of SoFi.
So sweet.
And we're doing a fours exhibition. Like ESPN's going to produce it. I don't know if it'll be televised. Like Maddie's getting a bunch of videographers.
Get the link. Send the link over.
Yeah.
I would love to watch that, actually. It'd be fun.
So it should be fun.
Oh, it's fun.
So the guys, it's me, Tri, Cam, Casey Patterson, Ed Ratledge, and Salila Tucker. And then the girls are Sarah, Sponsel, and Therese, Kristen and Taryn, Emily Stockman, and Kelly Reeves.
Dang.
Oh, that's fun.
Cool group.
It was hilarious. When Maddie called me, he's like, so Delaney, can she pass? Can she move? It's like, none of the above.
No. She's out.
She's out.
She's out.
She's out. Oh my God, that's so fun. Wait, so it's is it co-ed fours?
I think so.
Oh, sweet.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And then you just have people sub in and out.
Yeah, so I think each
So
team
fun.
will probably have 3 guys, 3 girls.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
But we're playing from like 12 to 4.
Wow.
It's a lot.
Get your reps in.
What
a lot
time
of
is the
volleyball.
game? What time even is the game?
4.
So you're
Oh.
playing up until.
Yeah, I think that's our window to
Yeah.
play.
Odd.
Oh, that's a lot of volleyball.
It's a lot, especially when you haven't played in more than a month.
You're gonna get your reps in.
4 hours.
Yeah.
After that, you're gonna be ready to go.
Yeah, I played
Oh my
no
God.
jump KOB with Hagen, Jake Urtia, and Andy Benish yesterday, so I'll be primed and ready to go.
That's a big thing for the men's. Evan did that with Mesco and
Yeah,
who else was
I would have to guess Theo. Theo's
Theo
the one, yeah.
and this other
Theo
loves
always
no
does
jump.
it.
there's another really tall, super tall guy.
Spencer Souter, I think, was out
I think that's what Evan
because
said.
after me and Mesco survived
The
our way in
surfing.
from surfing, we like all the no jump people were ready to go.
Ready to go.
We're walking out, and like I can't feel anything. It's freezing.
It is freezing, and your body's like numb from paddling out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, the men's, they're into that no jump stuff. It's
It's the best off-season thing ever.
Yeah.
Do women? Are you guys big into no jump?
no. We'll do no jump as like warm up. That's like
Really
a big
bad
thing.
no jump.
Yeah, I'm not good at no jump either.
Maybe we should do it more.
I know.
Yeah,
A big thing right now is just people trying to play fours. That's like obviously
I love fours.
big
Yeah,
co-ed
I'd
fours,
play
normal
fours.
fours, but the I don't know if does Mesco always set it up or is it just
Mesco
kinda,
is the no jump kingpin. If there's a no jump game happening, he knows about it. He's organizing it.
He's
putting
organizing
betting
it.
lines on it. Yeah.
Chase plays all the time.
He does no jump tournaments.
$20.
Yeah.
$20
yeah,
on the line.
$20.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either. Evan's like, I made $20 yesterday, and I was like, what? He's like, oh yeah, we all put $20 in, and
Yeah.
so
It's a big thing. It's like the best way to get touches in the off season. I love fours, but fours still requires jumping, and so I don't.
Fair. Unless you're the
Fours
center.
is more fun than no jump, but no jump is better for me in terms of reps and not hurting.
what's your plan for after you're gonna grind it out tomorrow, but
Yeah.
what's your plan for this upcoming what's your first event training kind of looking like? Because everyone does it differently, and I
Yeah.
took a month off, and I'm so eager to like get back to training, and like Jen has us like no jumping, like super slow stuff because we need to kind of start fresh. But I'm curious what your kind of program looks like.
Yeah, I don't know because we'll have to wait till the AVP schedule comes out.
Yep.
Because I don't know how much more international stuff I'm gonna do once the kid comes. So that's mid-April, and so there's 2 events in Mexico. One's an Elite 16, so I wouldn't be able to get into that.
But the Challenger,
But I'll probably sign up for the Challenger in La Paz, which I highly recommend. Have you guys ever been to La Paz?
I did the Norsega. Yeah.
How cool was that Norsega?
It was it's amazing. I just am curious if they're gonna do it on the same beach because there was only room for 2 courts.
Yeah.
And like a little baby warm court. So I'm curious how they're gonna run that event.
But Tone, one, if you haven't done the La Paz Norsega, highly recommend.
Yeah.
It's the best Norsega I've been to.
It's so good.
Because the town just shuts down. It's like Mexico's Manhattan Beach Open.
Yeah.
And
Wild.
you're sitting there.
That's amazing.
You could win like 21-2, 21-5 over some team that doesn't play volleyball, and you are signing autographs and taking pictures for like an hour after your matches. And so I'll probably try to find someone, maybe like Hagen.
Yeah.
To do La Paz.
Go play.
The Challenger,
Yeah, but then, I mean, the kiddo is going to come in April, and so I'm leaving the
duty.
schedule open after that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But I think for now, until Miles Partain gets out of UCLA, I'm going to be Andy Benish's lefty practice partner.
So, I was asking him, I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, how often can you practice? He was like, yeah, maybe once a week. I was like, well, that's hard.
Yeah.
So that's good for you because, like, that's really good training, too. So
I told Andy, I was like, I'm not a very good defender, but I am a 6'4" lefty, and so I can be your Miles till May.
I can jump set.
He was probably
Get my jump
stoked.
setting reps
Done
in.
it. I can't quite do it as well as Miles, but I've done it.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Fun.
What about you guys? Tone, how is your knee? Let's get an update on your progress. And what is it made out of?
I had a whole knee replacement. Basically, no. I'm just kidding.
Dude, break it down. Break it down from like,
Okay, yeah. So
all of it.
obviously, we'll back up to when we were in New Orleans. Got injured playing against Kristen and Taryn. We did have a spectacular run though. Went 2-0 on the first day.
Yeah.
Beat Zana and Brandy, which was a huge win for our team, and then got injured. Basically had a little bit of a panic for a while, but immediately saw my doctor, who's done all of my surgeries, which I hate telling people that. They're like, "Oh my God, how many surgeries have you had?" And I'm like, "A lot."
A lot.
A lot. I see the same doctor. He's done them all.
What is the count?
I've had 4 knee surgeries and a shoulder. One of the knees was a clean out, so it's not necessarily like an intense surgery, but regardless, had an MRI. Got actually really bad news from the MRI, which a lot of people don't know, but the only thing that I didn't want it to be was a partial tear in my ACL, because you basically can't really fix it unless you do a full reconstruction, and so you'd be out for almost a year, or you could rehab and wear a brace. And I was like, veto to the brace. I was like, I'm not wearing a brace. I won't do it. I don't want to do it.
How come?
Just like I feel like as a blocker, being dynamic and like being able to move is like obviously really important, and being in a brace could potentially like limit my abilities.
Have you played in a brace before?
I have.
I can imagine the sand in the joint in the like that's. It just seems like it'd be so uncomfortable too.
Like indoor wasn't really a problem. I wore a brace indoor when I was in high school for a little while, and I was completely fine. But I just feel like kind of what you're saying, like the sand and everything in there, like I just don't feel like I'd be able to perform at my highest level.
Yeah.
So that was the news that I got from the MRI, and I was like, what is this? And then basically from my past surgery, so when you do an ACL reconstruction, they drill a tunnel in your bone to reconnect it.
Okay.
And my tunnel that they drilled had expanded, and I had these cysts coming up through the tunnel. Basically like the debris from the screws or yada yada. I don't know all the info because I'm not a doctor, but anyways, the cyst was like in the top of the tunnel and it was like just widened out. And my doctor saw that on the MRI and was kind of like, this is probably a little like something that we're going to have to fix eventually. And so I had decided I'm going to rehab 6 to 8 weeks. I wasn't going to do, with the partial tear, I was just going to rehab 6 to 8 weeks. And then the recovery to fill this tunnel was 6 to 8 weeks. So I was like, okay, let's just do this. It's called a bone graft. So basically they pack the tunnel with bone cadaver.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bone cadaver? So bone cadaver's a thing?
Yeah, I have a lot of cadaver in my body, so a lot of this stuff in my body's not mine.
Jeez.
So the bone cadaver, and they basically like mix it with blood, and they pack it in there and make new bone. So I was like, okay, let's do that. When my doctor went in to do that surgery, he found out that my ACL was completely fine, which was hallelujah, like amazing. I just had a partial tear in my meniscus. So they just cleaned it out, and my rotational movement, so when I got injured, it was this, like, when I landed and planted, it was, like, this movement.
Okay.
And that was, like, laxed. So he added, like, he called it a strap. I don't know the exact word for it, but basically, like, a...
it's like a seatbelt. That's what you done.
Yeah, kind of like a little, something on the outside. I have 2 new scars. It's, like... just like this little strap he inserted to help with this supportive measure for that movement. Remove some scar tissue from the past surgery, and boom, we're here.
Boom. So what's the timeline of that? So New Orleans was in June?
It was
late May.
Late May. It was Memorial Day weekend. Yeah.
I had surgery June 10th, and then I stayed in Louisiana. It was just so weird how everything happened. Like, I was already in Louisiana. I didn't come back here. I stayed there for 2 months with the same suitcase that I packed for AVP New Orleans. So
you just packed for one tournament. You lived on those clothes.
Wait, we came
were in
from
San Antonio. So it was San Antonio to New Orleans.
2 tournaments.
And then I stayed for 2 months, which was great. I mean, saw my family and everything. I got surgery. I rehabbed with LSU.
Okay.
So obviously, big thank you to them. They are absolutely amazing. That school has done so much for me, and I can't be more grateful for that. So I actually worked with an athletic trainer there, Sean Eddy, and then I worked with beach volleyball's new strength coach, Gil, and she was absolutely amazing. So I kind of started getting, exercises and rehab in there, and then when I transferred here back, I started working with the Meyer Institute of Sport.
Okay.
And I was with them for like 2 months. So when I got back, it was August. Was with them until like October, and then I was already working out with our strength coach Miles. When I got back, we started lifting in there. But yeah, we were looking to play in October in some FIVB events, but I decided that I didn't necessarily feel like ready to do it, and I wanted Savvy to be able to go and perform at the highest level, and so we made a team decision for her to go and play with someone else, just because I didn't feel ready, and I'm glad I did it because I feel like going into this season I feel really strong and really like ready to go, versus like if I would have maybe played in October, maybe I wasn't necessarily ready.
Yeah.
So.
When I want to rewind to New Orleans, it looked like, because you served and ran up, right? Well, you served and got halfway there.
Yeah.
Well, it was the play before.
It was actually before. It was the ball that Kristen sent over on 1 that I ran down and played, and Savvy set me, and when I planted to jump is when it happened.
Okay.
And I'm pretty, like, aware of my body. Like, if I know something's wrong, like, you can, like, tweak something, and you'll be like, oh, like, am I fine? Like, in your head, you're, like, going through this, like, okay, am I fine? Like, did that hurt? Am I okay now? And, like, that I did, whatever I do in my head about that. And I was like, ooh, like, something's wrong. I was like, I think something's wrong, but we're going to go into the tech.
It was the technical, yeah. I remember that right after that point.
We did, and I remember saying, I'm pretty sure I said, like, I think something's wrong, but, like, I'm fine. Like,
she looked at me and was like, something's wrong. And I had no idea anything that happened. Like, she didn't fall. Like, I think you got a kill.
It was weird. It was just weird.
Yeah. And she goes, she's like, something's wrong with my knee. And of course, I'm like, what? But she's like, I'm fine. When we go back. And
yeah, no, as soon as I like jumped and landed and tried to run, I knew, like, immediately knew something was wrong. Yeah. So it was like kind of weird, like, because no one knew what was going on besides them, because I said before we went out there, something's wrong. Yeah. So I think, like, in my mind, when I sat on the bench, like, I was basically just like having a panic attack. Yeah. Because, like, after going through 2 ACL reconstructions, you never want to have to go through. You never want to go through 1, much less 2, and then potentially 3. It's like, I don't ever want to do this again, you know. Yeah. So, and then my last ACL surgery, like, on this same leg, I ended up getting this really, like, gnarly infection after, and had to stay in the hospital for weeks. So, like, it's just like a lot of, like, things that are going on in your head. Yeah. After getting injured, and then potentially it being something. So on the bench, I just know that I was just freaking out on the inside. Yeah.
Because athletes, I mean, even when we're not hurt, we're so much more hyper aware of every possible thing that's going well and not well with our bodies. And I feel like as someone who had already been through 2 ACLs, you were probably so hyper aware of when something doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, like, when you're sitting on the bench, did you have a pretty good idea of what happened?
Yeah, like, I knew I heard a pop, and I knew that the motion that happened was a twist. Yeah. I do know that in my other times that I've torn my ACL, I've been in, like, excruciating pain, like, to the point where I'm, like, on the ground, like, screaming, which that's, like, different for everybody. Like,
some people don't have pain. Yeah.
It's so interesting. So I was like, okay, like, maybe this just isn't like the last time. Like, maybe it is torn, and I just am not in as much pain. Yeah. But I did know that something was wrong after hearing a pop, and then the way that my leg twisted, didn't feel right. Yeah.
ACLs are such an interesting thing because there's no contact, and so when you watch them happen, it looks so innocuous. Yeah. And you wonder how something so traumatic could happen to a knee without anything actually happening.
I know.
Because one of my best friends, he tore his ACL his freshman year of high school, and he said it didn't hurt. It felt like his knee just sort of fell out of his knee, and he tried to stand up, and he just couldn't. He fell on his face twice, and he was like, "Why doesn't my leg work?" Yeah. And we didn't believe him because he was like, "It doesn't hurt, but I just can't. I can't walk.
I can't do anything."
It just gives out. Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, I remember, like, both times when I tore mine, like, it felt like my knee was just, like, turned the wrong way, or, like, it just felt like out of place, weirdly. Yeah. But I was in a lot of pain, so I don't even really remember. So yeah.
I mean, that puts you in an odd spot as well, because obviously it's the beginning of the season, and you guys had played very well up to that point. As you said, you had a great start to New Orleans. You won your first 2 events, had a great win over Zana and Brandy, and you were planning on playing the season together. Yeah. And then, Sav, what's your process like trying to regroup? Because at that point, most of the top players, they have their partners. And then you're just scrambling the rest of the way.
Oh, yeah. First off, I just think the season was hard as it was, trying to figure out partner stuff and whatnot. But the hardest part for me was, we're not just partners. We were like best friends. And we called a medical, and she sits down and she starts crying. She's like, I think I tore my ACL again. And as a friend, like, they had it. If you go back and watch the game, like, they had us on camera, like, crying. And I, of course, was like, we're forfeiting this game. Like, there's not even a question in my mind. Like, we're playing tomorrow if you're okay. But, like, don't even worry about today. And if we can't play, this tournament means literally nothing, like, in the grand scheme of things. And hearing her say that, though, like, and seeing her cry, and her mom coming on the court and her mom crying, it's just sent me. And then I go and I tell Taryn and Kristen, and they both started crying because, they played together, and it just, it was so emotional. It was just, and then we brought her into the tent, and she's still crying. Evan loses his game, and apparently I wasn't there, like, 'cause I was in the tent with her, and I guess, like, he just came over and didn't even care about his loss. Just was so worried about us. Like it was like weird. It was like time stopped and literally nothing else mattered. We're in the tent and they're trying to contact people to get her seen immediately. And so we're kind of just, and I'm with Jen and we're all kind of just there, and Taryn and Kristen are there. You know, I went and ripped a couple shots because I was like so not okay. And Evan's friends came over and they were like, do you need a drink? And I was like, yeah. I was having a panic attack. So we took a couple shots because I was like, I need to like, trying to make some light out of a horrible situation anyway. But, you know, we ended up going, nothing could have been done that night. So we went back and we're in the hotel room and we just got canes and played games. And we tried to, you know, seeing how devastated she was, and all she's thinking is the worst case scenario. So all I'm thinking is the worst case scenario, but we're trying to like keep our shit together for like one night. Like, let's just try and make the best out of this night. And I think Victoria and Taylor came over too.
Chase.
And then Chase and Evan were there. Jen was there. So we had a good group just playing games and hanging out. And the next step from that whole thing was we were supposed to get on a flight from there to Lithuania for a Futures event. So then it's like scramble, whole shit show because I never booked an international trip on my own. So we all coordinated with Evan and he helped us because he's good at planning and he's gotten better. This was a big L. We
like
booked
right at the beginning, you know.
We booked through a third party.
Oh no!
And didn't know it was a non-refundable flight through a third party because it was we're broke and it was the cheapest flight. We're like, we're obviously going. So then I spent the whole day. Evan's mom's a paralegal, and we were on the phone with this company. They barely spoke English, trying to get a refund. There's no refund, and she's screaming at them, and we're pretending to be like in the hospital. So and she gets on the phone, and she pretends to be me, and she's like crying. I mean, it was like we're trying to do everything. In hindsight, we probably could have said I had COVID, and they probably would have given us a refund.
Yeah, I mean, that's your golden ticket for.
But
anything.
I, of course, was like, my partner, they don't get it. But to me, it made so much sense. Like my partner, I'm like yelling, she just tore her effing ACL. We can't go to this tournament. And they're like, oh, we're sorry, no refund. We're hours on the phone trying to deal with that whole thing. So anyways, it didn't end up going. I think I called maybe Maycraft and Julia at the time. I can't remember. Last second, you want to go to Lithuania, and you know it just didn't work out. But
it was too quick.
It was like right. You know, we were going in a day or two after. So it's funny. I forgot all this even happened. But yeah, and then after that, it just kind of it went into scramble mode and a lot of waiting. We didn't know a lot about her stuff for a bit, the MRI, and I actually stayed with Evan that week there. We stayed till Thursday, I think, and then flew in. So we went to Baton Rouge and went to a doctor's appointment with her. And so there was just a lot of uncertainty at the time. I was expecting the worst. Like an ACL tear, she's going to be out for a year. Like I need to find a new partner. But then it was like 6 to 8 weeks. So the whole rest of the season, I got so lucky to play. I played with Em and Jess and all these different people and all these different events. And it ended up being great, and I was able to continue to play. I didn't have to qualify for any more events. Me and Em played in all the AVP events. Then
and that's Emily Day.
Emily Day. And then Jess Gaffney and I, we did some international stuff. Played with Deanna. There are people that I am probably leaving out too along the way. I played with a lot of people this summer, just trying to make it work. But it all worked out. I gained FIVB points. I made money. Like it was the most imperfect season ever, but we made it work, and she was great the whole time, and Evan was my rock, and working with Jen Snyder, who's our coach, and Scott Davenport, who know the FIVB system really well, and just trying to figure out like, okay, who can I play with, who has enough points to get into these challengers and whatnot, and all right, do I have enough money to go, and all these different things. So it ended up being okay, but the weirdest part was her recovery was like, okay, I should be back by this time. And then when that time came around, I'm like, okay. And she was so ready to play. She's like, I'm playing in Manhattan. And that was in August. She's like, we're playing Manhattan. And I was like, hey, I committed to the Gold Series events with Em and whatever. But she was like, I could play Chicago. She was so mentally ready to go. But she ended up not playing an event the rest of the year, which I just think fueled the fire a little bit more. And like, I just think now going into events, there's just a lot more probably confidence going into stuff. And, you know, as a friend too, and maybe this is selfish, I just was kind of like, I want to play in your first event back with you because however, you know, you lacking confidence or nervous or whatever, like I want to be that person. Like I've been through this whole journey with you and like, I want you to be comfortable on the court, and I'm sure she would with other people too, but you know, that she had some opportunity. I mean, she's a stud and she had some opportunities like late this year for Central Florida or Huntington and all these things. And, you know, as a team, I was like, I know you want to do it, but is that best for you? Is that best for us? You know, are you ready? There's a lot of moving pieces because she just ended up taking a long time for the recovery, which it ended up being better than we could have imagined. But for me, it was like, if it was like, hey, I'm done for the season, things may have been different, but maybe not. Like, I don't know. You know, Em and I did our thing, and then she didn't want to go to some international events, so I picked up Jess. So things could have been exactly the same regardless. But she's my girl, and we were doing so well, and I wanted her to get back. And yeah, a lot. I took a month off of volleyball, which I don't think I've ever done in my life, in December because less physical burnout, more just mental burnout. And I'm the type of player that's like, whoever my partner is, it's whatever you want. Like, what do you want? I don't care. We can eat whatever you want. We can stay wherever you want. We can run whatever system you want. I'll split block if you want. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, I try to be super flexible, but I think that sometimes it's more taxing than I like realized it was. And, you know, playing with different partners and traveling with different people, you know, different personalities. And like I said, it ended up working out great. And I'm so lucky to have had the season I ended up having. But yeah, there's just a lot of phone calls to different, you know, what should I do? Oh, and then people say, oh no, don't do that. And in my gut, I feel like I should. And so, you know, I learned a lot about how to travel, how to play with different people, trusting my gut. That's been a big thing. Like, this feels wrong. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Or, you know, I feel like I should be doing this. And I took a lot of leaps of faith, and they ended up going in the right direction. So yeah, a lot of ups and downs, but it ended up being a positive for sure.
I feel like you, Zana, and Haley Harward were just the three floating defenders. Just whatever blocker could take.
And Molly Turner too. You know, there's the top group of defenders, you know, Sponsel and Sarah Hugh, Betsy, you know, Kristen. There's that top group, and I consider, you know, and then like Zana played with Brent, you know, she did so well, and Haley won an AVP, and you know, Molly, you know, did well at FIVB, and so it's weird though, like they're like really good in their set, and then there's like me, it was me, Zana, Haley, Molly, like we're all kind of in this weird like you said, floater category. And Haley, we've become buddies, and she joked around, she's like, let me know who you're playing with next year so I can like figure it out. I'm like she was just so funny, and like, yeah, it's cool that we have that relationship. We're total competitors, and we probably always will be for the rest of our careers, 100%. But it was just funny that she worded it like that. She's like, once you figure out who you're playing with, then I'll see what my options are, and we'll go from there. It was a funny conversation, but yeah, a lot of bouncing around, which it's good. We've all played with a lot of different people this summer. All four of us played with, I wonder how many different partners we all had. It's crazy.
I talk about it all the time that I think that the U.S. has like 7 or 8 of like the top 20 defenders in the world, which, Tone, as a blocker, you're just sitting there, you're like, I love this. I love where I'm at.
We need more blockers out there.
Oh, man.
But you wanted to come back and play Manhattan. Still haven't played an event yet, obviously. So what's
right? You haven't played anything.
What's the recovery?
Since,
What's the recovery been like? Like, when did you start touching the ball, lifting, jumping?
Yeah, so after surgery, you wait like a week or two, and then you kind of start rehab, and it's very minimal stuff, and you gradually ramp it up. I think range of motion is one of the biggest things, coming out of a knee surgery. You want to make sure you're not developing scar tissue, so that's like kind of one of the first focuses through June, like getting the range of motion, and then immediately trying to activate your quad. That's like one of the first things that you lose when they go in to do a knee surgery. So I didn't have a lot of prehab.
Okay.
Which is actually really important when you have a surgery. Like you want to like really get that muscle strong, because when they go in, you're going to lose some of it. So when you come out, you still have some. I think, I mean, I was strong before I went in, but obviously I lost some muscle there. And so I think that this rehab was just a little bit different because I wasn't in college and I wasn't in high school. Like I was a pro athlete, and to be honest, like, yes, I did my rehab with LSU and I did rehab out here, but it was definitely like a different, just kind of different in general, like not having to like rush through the process. I think that was one of the biggest things, and that's kind of why I think I feel like really good now, is because I wasn't rushing through. And not to say that that's what has happened in the past, but like when you're in college, like all your coaches care about is getting you back on the court.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they're talking to the athletic trainer every single day, and they're like, when's she going to be ready? When's she going to be ready? Like, make sure you're doing this. Make sure you're doing that. You know? So I think this go around, it was finally like, okay, this is on my time. This is like based strictly on like, how does my body feel? And like, how far can I push myself within the rehab and like getting back to the court. So it definitely was a lot slower than I wanted it to be. And like I said, I wanted to be back by Manhattan, but clearly that did not happen. When I got back out here in August, I immediately was I was lifting before I got back here. I was lifting with the LSU strength coach, and then started working with Miles with USA, and he's amazing, and we basically broke down exactly like what my goals were, and he knew I had surgery, and so it was really nice working with him. He was super helpful in my recovery back. So thanks, Miles. And
Shout out, Miles.
I believe that I was in the sand, like starting to get back in the sand around the August period as well. When I got back here, I started working with, I'm in the developmental program right now with USA. So I started working with them, and they knew I had surgery. So it was really nice actually to come back and have like set trainings with a coach that knows, okay, what are my limitations? So that was actually really, really nice. So I've been lifting and doing those trainings since August. So I did that from August till now. Nice. Which has been really good and like consistent.
Yeah.
It was cool too, because a lot of us were in, like when we were in Dubai and Maldives and stuff, she had like, they still were doing trainings, and she had like privates almost, because a lot of people were gone and they still were running the trainings. And so she had like one-on-one, they could go as fast or slow as they want. So that was cool to see too.
Yeah. Fiapo, I don't know if you know
Fiapo's awesome.
He's amazing, and he's actually got he's got 20 years of PT background, physical therapy background. So it was like the best like case scenario that could have happened, like working with him and Jose. And so like him knowing where I'm at in my rehab process, and then being able to push me past a threshold, or to that threshold where like I am, advancing. It was actually really nice, because coming back from injury, it's a scary process, and sometimes you need someone to kind of give you that little push to get past that point of like thinking you can't do it. So it was really nice working with him and Jose over the last couple of months, just helping me get back to sport. It's been really, really, really good. I'm not sure what maybe I would have worked with Jen had I not had that opportunity or resource, but super grateful that I did. So.
And it's free, which is
also amazing.
Super helpful.
Amazing. I started jumping probably around...
It was around when we were gone in
it was Dubai.
In Maldives and Dubai. That was October.
October. Yeah. So around October, which probably in my mind, everything was way quicker than I actually did it, but I like I said, I feel really good.
Yeah.
I feel really excited. So.
Is it mentally, how do you do coming back on the sand after an injury, especially after sort of the mental scar tissue of having done it a couple times? Because the worst injuries I've ever had are like sprained ankles. Mm-hmm. But even that, when I came back onto a basketball court, I was pretty tentative of cutting and changing direction on that ankle. Yeah. Did you have any kind of mental blocks you had to get over or are getting over?
I think that as like I guess sand. I've never had an injury and then had to come back and play sand.
Okay.
So that was one thing that was interesting, right? The moving surface, like the not stable, like a little bit scarier than indoor for sure because, you're on that stable surface. So I was definitely a little tentative when I came back out, like just being super careful with my movements and like just being like hyper aware for like it took a couple weeks until I could actually start like kind of moving past that point. And every week you progress a little more and more, and then you start feeling more and more confident. So I think there was like glimpses of like mental blocks, like where like, ooh, I'm scared to do this, but like they're saying I could do it, so I'm gonna trust.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like you just gotta trust the process.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, you just kind of do it, and like just kind of thinking back to Savvy's talked about this a lot, thinking back to AVP New Orleans. Before the game started, I said,
oh my God, this was so weird.
What did I say? Whatever's supposed to happen tonight, like, will happen.
And I don't know why. I don't know if it was because we were playing Taryn and Kristen. I can't remember why, but we were playing Taryn and Kristen. That's kind of a lot of hype, and they're from there. And we were definitely nervous, and like
it was just a weird.
It was super weird. She literally before the game, we were kind of nervous, and I don't know if that's necessarily why, but she literally was like, I've just gotten to the point where like whatever's meant to happen is gonna happen, and like I'm very at peace with that. And then it just like
weird.
It's really weird. She did that right before the game, and everything happened, and so it's like I had a lot of people that were like, okay, you're playing with Toni, like that's a physical, like that's a risk you're taking. I'm like, I mean, yeah, like she's injured her knee a lot, but it's almost like everything kind of happens for a reason, and I just think that she hasn't even had a chance to really prove herself, like, and I just think this is going to be like I don't know, whether it's with me or someone else down the road, it doesn't matter. I just think for her, like, this is all going to be a part of a very cool, like, fairy tale story. Because the fact that she said that and then it happened, it's all just, we all have different journeys and whatever is meant to happen. Like we said, it's going to happen. But, there was a lot of time where she was like, am I going to come back and play? Like, there's a little point in time where it was like, if this is my ACL, like,
it's gonna be tough.
It was hard to have faith there. It was like, is God trying to tell me like that this is not meant to be my path? Like if this is my third ACL tear, like, that's probably like, can I come back from this? So
tough, yeah.
it got a little dark for a while. Like, am I meant to keep playing this? But it's all just worked out, and I don't see that anything like that happening again. Like that, the thinking about the, thinking about the physical, it never really, it's like, it's a risk playing with anyone though. Like no matter who, anyone can get injured. Anyone can mentally be like, I'm freaking done, or get in a slump. Like no matter who you play with, you're taking a risk, especially going and doing all the international stuff. But that never really was like a thought really, because I don't know. I just think this girl has a lot to show, and it's just going to be a cool part of the journey. And you'll look back and be like, remember when that happened? Like, remember that whole crazy summer? So I don't know, but it was weird that she said that before the game. It was funky.
Yeah, just like thinking about that and like coming back from this injury specifically. One, I think I've learned that like I am okay if I'm not playing volleyball. Like I can be successful and like in whatever I'm doing, and volleyball does not define who I am. So I think that was one thing I learned this summer, and I've learned it every time I've gotten injured, but like this time specifically, I'm like I'm an adult, I'm not in college, like I have like real things going on, and I'm like, okay, like I can be happy and not play volleyball. So I think that was one thing that was really cool. And then obviously when coming back to playing, like just trusting that like I'm gonna be fine. Like when I step back out there, like week after week after week after week, like I'm just getting better and better and better and better, and just like trusting that this is what's supposed to be. And so I think from this injury, like going into this season, I'm just like super feeling really like excited, blessed, grateful that like I'm just going to continue to trust the process because this is just like what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to like, being someone that's been injured so much, like it's hard to ever ask why. Like that's not really like a thing that can happen anymore, or like that even really happens. Like I don't really think about that anymore because I'm like, well, it doesn't matter why it happened because like it happened, and it's, like I have to continue to like live life and like figure it out as I go. So instead of thinking about that, it's like, how do I get to the next phase?
Yeah.
So.
And the whole asking why did this happen, it really just depends on the tonality of the way you're asking. Because if you're asking like, oh, why did this happen to me? Like you can be like kind of woe is me, or like, all right, like why did this happen?
Yeah.
What can we take
What am I
away
gonna
from
do
it? What
about
can
it?
we
Yeah.
learn?
Yeah.
And in a way, just being the compulsive optimist that I am, I do feel like mentally you're prepped to have a fantastic season because you're going to be so freaking hungry to play volleyball. Whereas everyone else was playing their last tournament in December and the first tournament's in February.
Yeah.
It's a month. That's it. That people were, and in a couple instances, I mean, people really only took a couple weeks off of training before they got back to it, where like, you haven't competed in a while. You're hungry.
Literally, like,
everyone
dying.
else is coming in on a really shortened off season. So I think you're kind of in a good spot mentally.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Because like you said, you took a month off volleyball, which you've never done in December, and I took a month off just because everyone played so many tournaments.
So much, yeah.
And if you didn't do that, or even like extend your off season into January, by the time August rolls around, like you're screwed.
You're gonna be exhausted again.
You know? But I think you guys are in a good spot because you've taken the time that you needed to take, whether it was forced or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was there were some forced days. I was like, I should not be, I lifted for sure, but there was definitely some times where it's like part of me was antsy to play, and the other part of me felt guilty that I wasn't playing. Yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna be so bad when I come back, but Evan told me, he's like, I've been having a hard time with my, and I don't know why, but like my decision making is very like wishy-washy. Like, should I be doing this? And like I talked about earlier, like making decisions to go play in certain tournaments and take certain risks like that. But just it's come down. It's weird. I've been having a lot of anxiety about just like life. I don't know. It's weird, but it even was like we're in New Orleans, and I was there the 12th through the 20th of December, which is like coming into holidays. It's the perfect time to just like let loose, have fun, like hang out. And I was like, like, I feel like should I drink tonight? Like, or we're out late with friends. Like, I'm gonna wake up really tired tomorrow. I should be in bed. Like, I was questioning like every little thing. And Evan finally was like, dude, you gotta like make a decision and roll with it. And if it's the wrong one, you'll figure it out. But like, I couldn't decide if I wanted to practice or not. And he's like, make a decision, and he's never going to tell me what to do. I'm always like, can you just, should I do this? Can you tell me what to do?
It's easier if you tell me. And please.
And he's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I need a break. He goes, okay, so make the decision right now. Like, you are not going to play volleyball until you go back up to Hermosa come the new year. And I was like, okay. And once I actually made a decision, I actually was the most at peace with that. I just was kind of in between. I could have come up and trained with her. I could have like done at least something by myself at home or whatever. But once I made the decision, I felt like content. And then it kind of was the perfect reset because like New Year's Day was a Sunday. So it was like, come back, have that whole Sunday to like get ready to go. And then the whole next week I can play like, it's like a fresh start. It just felt right. Like the timing of it and the day of the week and everything. And, we got a couple practices in last week, which is good. The rain like didn't really help. We had one little rainy day session, which was nice, but, it's nice to like wanna, because there was a point in December where I was like we're in Turks and Caicos for the volleyball vacations trip, and Albie was like,
no breaks.
I think Savvy I felt so bad.
He was like, what is wrong with you? You're just not yourself. Are you okay? I'm like, and Jen was like, dude, like she's not okay. Like she's not okay. Like she needs a break. And because that whole trip is partying and playing, and you're out. And it's
an amazing trip, but it's
amazing. It's
a lot.
Amazing, but it's like I remember last year when we did it, I was dead after, and we'd be out and we'd have dinner, and I'm sitting at dinner with people, and normally I'm so chatty Cathy, and I'd be sitting there like,
can I go home?
like I don't want to talk to you. which is so hard. Like, because I actually wanted to talk to them. I just didn't have it
in you.
In me.
You wanted to want to talk to them.
Yeah, and then people were bringing out trays of shots, and I was like, I don't want to do that, which just it would have been a perfect time if I had felt okay to celebrate like a great year and like be with amazing people, which we did. But there were so many nights where I'd go to Jen and be like, hey, Jen, like, because she's done that trip so many times. I'm like, can I go home now? She's like, just wait a little longer. Like, there's still a lot of people out. Like, wait a little longer. And then she'd come and like tap me and be like, go to bed. I'd be like, yes. I'd like run to bed. And Evan would be like hammered with talking to people. And I'm like, bye, I'm going to bed. You come back. And I'd come wake up a few hours later and he'd come back stumbling in. Oh, so fun. Where were you? I'm like, man, I've been in bed for 3 hours. But there's a couple nights where like on that trip you feel guilty too. Cause like you feel a responsibility to like be on at all times, talking to people, drinking, playing with them. And there was a lot of times where I was like, I'm not on right now. A lot of times, like last year, there's only one night I think I went to bed like kind of early. Early is like 11. And this trip, it was like 8 o'clock. And I was like, I need to go to bed. Or like people were playing fours at sunset. And I would just kind of like scurry off and like go grab a snack and go I took a nap every single day from like 5 to 6:30, and then we had our coaches meeting and then dinner, and right after dinner I was like, I gotta go to bed. So there was
something's wrong with Savvy.
Something's wrong because then the whole time I feel guilty. I'm like, I have nothing left to give, and honestly it's better if I'm just not around, because I was being a friggin' party pooper the whole time. I'm like, it's better if I'm just not here. Like, seriously, like when I decide I don't want to do something or I don't want to be there,
sounds out.
I'm do it.
It's hard for me to like turn around. Like, yeah. So that was a long week. Ended up being fine, amazing. And we had a lot of pros there, so it worked. It actually worked out perfect. And I was very open with Albie. I was like, dude, I am like done. Like, and coming from a tournament too. Yeah, that was a very emotional tournament. We made Sunday, and we barely lost in the 5th place game, and to go to the semis and whatnot. And although it's a watered down tournament, it was still cool to like. It was my first Sunday. Like, we technically made Sunday. We just couldn't play. That was my first Sunday. And, it's a watered-down field, but everyone there is freaking legit still. Like, the level, the girls' level is still so strong. So, there's still a lot of emotions for that weekend. And I think even more emotional because we could have won. Like, there's definitely some AVP events where you come into it and you're like, there's teams that are just straight up, they're just better. Yeah. And like, we're only going to beat them if they play bad and we play freaking good. Yeah. Like, there's just some of those events, like, people are just so good. And it was the one weekend where I'm like, dude, me and Jess are like, dude, we can do it. We can, like, we were so fired up. So, like I said, the emotional roller coaster, it was just, I need to get better at like staying a little more like this, because I'm a freaking train wreck, like with my emotions. Evan brought it up because, he hates when I get personal about our relationship, but I will very briefly. I'm very,
That's okay.
I'm very.
This is SANDCAST therapy.
Yeah. This is great.
Therapist.
I feel way better.
I feel way better
already. No, but he actually made a good point. He was like, because I always get like, we've been together for, over a year. We've been living together. He's been out here since March. Like, we've been living together for a long time, and things are very just, good. Everything's good. Like, there's no
relationship's great, everyone. No,
but it's weird though. It's weird because in my mind, like, I'm like, why are you? I start creating issues, and I'm like, why haven't you talked to me all day? Why do you hate me? Do you what? He's like, no, things are good. Like, I'm just content. Like, I don't feel like I need to like do all this, and I didn't think you'd need like reassurance. Like, we're good. All these things, but he brought it up as a good point, which applies to my life. He's like, because I start going into like, you don't love me anymore. It's just tragic. It's just tragic. But he brought it up. He was like, your range of emotion goes from 0 to 10. Like, and you can be anywhere in between, but you're either a 0 or 1, or you're like a 10. Yeah. That's with, how you love people, how you are, like how you play volleyball, how you treat people, all everything is just, I'm just an emotional person. He's like, my range is like a 3 to an 8. So like,
unless he gets a Kong block, then he's a 12.
Exactly. I think he's a 3 to an 8 in life. In volleyball, he's way up there. But it was cool to recognize like, okay, like he's like I need to get my emotions like a little bit in check, because that's probably why I'm so drained all the time. Like, because I just am always like catastrophizing everything.
You're a giver.
Yeah, but
you want to give.
If you want to make it work, especially just volleyball, you gotta be kind of, emotions are good when you're playing, but the second you're off the court, it's like there's no, like, you're not stressing about one thing. And like, if you have to book a flight or you have to do this, it shouldn't be like this crazy task that requires so much energy. Mm-hmm. Like, because if we want to maintain, if I want to do another long year like that, March to probably December, you need to find ways to like rein it in a little bit with the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thanks you guys. Thanks for listening to my TED Talks.
Anytime you want to come on SANDCAST Therapy Talk.
But it's good.
We're here for you.
You know,
just talk it out.
I feel great.
Oh God, you got the.
I've found that two things in life mainly get that roller coaster to just be more just really like a kid's ride.
Yeah.
And that is age and real problems to have, like actual, because like losing a volleyball match isn't a real problem.
It's not a
like
real
we
problem.
live such.
It's crazy.
This just goes for almost everyone in America, that we live such affluent lives that we don't have many real problems. We sort of have to invent things.
You like create problems.
Diversity, like sports.
Yeah.
You know, they're invented problems.
Crazy.
They're good problems to have. And I'm curious with you, Toni, because you have had some real problems. You've torn your ACL, 3 times, shoulder another time. In that, do you think that having undergone some very hard things has made it easier for you to go with the emotional volatility of, say, winning and losing a match?
Yeah, I think the age point is definitely
such a sore loser. You
plus.
guys.
I really am a big sore loser. I've gotten a lot better for sure, but I do believe that going through obviously tough things within sport has definitely made it more like, okay, like losing a game's not going to kill me, or I'm not going to have to take off volleyball for 6 months, or you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely it always puts things in perspective when you get injured. So I've definitely learned that, and I have gotten a lot better with losing. Like in college, I was like, I'm just like a really passionate person, and I believe Savvy is too, and I think that's why like emotional stuff is just like so big, because we just like are so passionate about sport and things that we do in life. And so but like in college, I wanted to win so badly that I would get, if we lost, I'd get so pissed that I would like start crying. Like not that I'm like crying because we lost, but crying because I'm just so mad. Like I'm so passionate about wanting to win and wanting to compete and like doing it as a team. So I think, going through bigger things has definitely helped with perspective for sure.
And I never mean to trivialize the value of winning and losing a beach volleyball match, because it's what you do. It's what we kind of all do for a living.
Yeah, it's
what you're doing for a job. So when you win or lose a match, sometimes those have huge implications, especially, if Tri were here, that can be the difference of paying this mortgage and feeding Naya. So it is a very real thing, but I think it is important to have, okay, well, these are the things that really matter, which health is a very important thing.
Yeah, health. You lose a match, you still have your family, you still have your friends, you still, you have all of these things that are backing you still, and these people don't, I think that's the biggest thing. People don't care, like, if you win or lose a game. They're still proud of you regardless. Yeah. And, like, just recognizing that, like, if I didn't return back to sport, people would still be proud of me. Yeah. You know? Like, it's the same thing with winning and losing. I mean, I just don't think anything's that big, versus the win and lose. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're winning,
Dude, I get you. But speaking of Turks and Caicos, last year we were in Turks and we did like a little exhibition, and Toni lost. And
I also didn't play with Savvy, so
she was so mad.
I was so pissed.
Like so mad, and I was like, this game more than anything means literally nothing.
That game meant absolutely nothing, but I was pissed.
She's come a long way, because I was like, Oh, she's so mad. Just in general, I remember I had like.
Debbie's just meeting me too, so like this is like,
yeah, it was like
this
so
girl
new.
Seeing me for the first time,
Getting
like
raw
doesn't
Tony
even know.
right here.
Oh man, oh yeah,
definitely.
But no, it's gaining that new perspective. That'll probably help me through a lot of stuff too throughout the season, like having, different perspective on everything. It's easy to get wrapped up when you're traveling and all the tournaments. Like you have a couple bad. I mean, I'm sure it's inevitable. We'll have a couple bad tournaments in a row where we're just like, the world seems like it's ending. But having that different perspective will be helpful for sure.
And I think that's also one of the most underratedly valuable things about being a team and a partnership is anyone can win together. Mm-hmm. Trevor Crabb and Reed Pretty notably did not get along well. They can win together, but it's how well can you lose together as a team? And I think that is the difference between what makes good teams great teams.
You lose probably more than you win, that's for sure. So it's like...
Well, it depends. People say that, but like you're going to lose more tournaments than you win, but your match record can still be 122.
I think it's just
when you win more than you lose.
When you lose, like you can win your pool and you can win a couple of games, but you're going to remember the loss way more than those 5 wins you had beforehand. It just weighs. That's what makes the win that much better. But
and I think that's also what makes exceptional athletes. Yep. If we didn't remember our losses stand out, we wouldn't adjust to make the adjustments to win matches. Yeah. So I think that's kind of a masochistic survival mechanism for athletes.
Your vocabulary is just outstanding. You've said a couple words today, and I'm like, dude,
it's just funny.
I have no idea what it means, but it's great.
Me and just started playing Scrabble, and I'm literally over there like cat, and he's like spelling words that are like he's using all of his letters in the thing, and I'm like, oh my god, just like.
Does he read a lot?
Killed me. Not really, but
good
he
vocab.
literally like when I say like he demolished me in Scrabble, like I was upset. Yeah. I was like sitting over there like
being a sore loser.
Like I just want to be better at spelling.
A good word. So me and Delaney, we cannot play Scrabble together anymore. But we play Bananagrams because Bananagrams doesn't really. It still favors people who are good with words, but how long your words are, how fancy your words are, doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
You're just making new words the whole time.
It's fun.
And it's really mobile. It's a good travel
Speaking
game.
of, I still have your Ticket to Ride game, so if you want to play.
We'll have to do dinner again when I'm not waking up and like, it's not today.
Not today.
Yeah. What's this season look like for you guys? Now that we have a healthy Toni, we have an emotionally healthy Savvy.
Hey.
She's back.
Emotionally stable.
Woo! We're ready.
Yeah, the first event, we signed up for the Doha Elite 16. We're like 6 on the reserve list, so that hasn't changed in a couple days, so I don't see us getting in.
Yeah, I checked today. Still.
Yeah, the men's changed quite a bit already because Evan and Logan went off the reserve list. They're already in, so that's changed, but the women's side hasn't changed at all. So I just kind of wanted to sign up, like I don't think her and I would be ready come that event. Like we could push right now and get ready, but with the process that Jen has us on, just taking it a little slower and like pretty much restarting what we were doing, we probably wouldn't be ready. But it was just nice to see kind of where we stood points wise, and just if we got in, we would have probably gone
Yeah, of course. Elite 16, first event of the Olympic qualifying.
Yeah, and she only has two. So she only has 2 finishes. So
you have Australia.
And Brazil. Yeah.
I forgot about Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, we traveled together to Australia.
Yeah, we did.
We ate that.
That was a big trip.
What was that?
Vegemite.
Vegemite.
Oh my gosh.
We gave it to Savvy on the way home too.
Oh, it's like eating gasoline.
Pretty much.
She loves it.
Pretty much.
So hilarious fun fact that we are the #1 volleyball podcast in Australia. So for Australian listeners, you guys are psychopaths for eating Vegemite. That stuff is I eat anything.
I'm sorry, I do too.
Foul.
It was very.
And I put it on.
Good.
So I put on Instagram that all right, have to try Vegemite. Here we go. And my inbox was overflowing with messages being like, "Oh mate, gonna enjoy it." And I ate it, and I was like, "No,
absolutely not."
Is this
we had it on bread too.
Yeah,
it was disgusting.
Oh. And I thought
Savvy drinks it.
I really like it.
Savvy drinks it for breakfast.
But we grew up eating it. My uncle's Aussie, so we grew up. That's kind of.
Oh man.
He'd pull it out and we'd be like, yeah. Like, I just also love salty things, and that's like over the top salty.
I like salt. I don't go chew salt mines though.
See, I could. I could lick my finger and dip it in a bowl of salt, and like I could drink salt water. I'm weird.
I'm drinking tequila. Bring the salt.
Yeah, it's just salt. But yeah, Vegemite for the Australian fans. I like Vegemite, so. You know.
So you're gonna be welcome back to Australia.
Yeah, you guys. I don't know. I don't know about you. Yeah. So the next one is the La Paz Challenger, and there's been thought of like we may not get in with our points, but I think
we believe we're gonna get in.
I think we will. Like
the qualifier.
The Challenger qualifier. So we were looking. I don't know if there's an Ortega schedule or anything like that, just because if she had one more finish, I think it'd be a no-brainer. Yeah. But some of the teams, the points are so close. Like, we have 1,030 points, and I looked at it through all the other challengers throughout the past year. Anyone who had around 1,000 was like top of the qualifier.
Yeah.
But just way more people could be playing. We're hoping that because it's in Mexico, a lot of the European teams won't come, and I think we'll be okay. I didn't really think about it. I was like, no brainer, we're going to be in. But, it just all just depends.
The only tough part is that it's followed by an Elite 16.
Exactly. So teams made top teams.
Are they taking away the rule that the top 6 cannot play in Elite 16s? I can't remember if that passed. That was a discussion.
What?
So
top
top 6 teams in the world via edging points for the last year could not play in challengers.
Oh, okay.
But I think because it's an Olympic year, they might take that out so you can get your 12 finishes.
Potential.
I don't know if that rule passed or not, but because it's followed by an Elite 16, I figured more teams
would do it. Yeah. So I mean, our goal, we're pretty much gonna sign up for whatever and go play, and hopefully we don't have to play a futures. We don't have to play playing a futures for me doesn't make sense, but a Norseca I would play because it would help. And they're cheaper, and your hotel's covered, and they're super fun too. So
and you can't push out finishes.
Exactly. So if worst comes to worst, we have another. If we win, it's a 160 or I think me and Meg got. It was like 128 for a third there, so it's something which helps. And then we'll sign up for the Elite. Doubt we'll be in for that, but you never know. We'll sign up for all of them. Then there's the 2 challengers in Brazil, so it's going to be just a lot of traveling, and it's nice that they have it sectioned off to different locations. You can kind of stay there and go and. We'll see the AVP schedule, and obviously want to play AVPs, but we are going for an Olympic run, and the odds are way low. But with the
odds are not in our favor.
They're not in our favor. But with the way the system works, and if they're keeping the 3 out of 4, like you never know. But the women's side is so stacked, so we'll see. We have no idea where we're gonna stand. Like no clue. Like we haven't played since May, and we were still in May. Like. Still not firing really.
We had like maybe 2 to 3 weeks of practice before we went to San Antonio.
Yeah.
We didn't have like a lot
with Jen.
Yeah.
We had no structure.
Have a lot set up. We didn't have anything really figured out. Like we just went out there and played.
Yeah.
So it's like really actually exciting thinking about how we have. I believe it's like 9 weeks.
Heck yeah.
I've been tracking it.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's play. Yeah. But like we get to actually like have a system, like have plays, like really like know each other well on the court and like develop like our team, which is like super exciting to do before actually going out there to compete against like the best. So,
yeah.
Really,
so really like if it comes down to it, if it's between an AVP and an FIVB, last year it was like I want to do all the AVPs because they're fun and more money and whatnot. But like we'll if there's conflicts and we have opportunities to gain points, like we're gone. We're gonna go. We'll it'd be great to play the Gold Series and whatnot, but we have who knows when anything's gonna be. I figured the Manhattan, Atlanta, Chicago will be pretty similar.
I feel like people are worried about the AVP.
I feel like everyone's always with
There's always
the AVP.
I've been hearing that a lot. I'm like, should I be worried? I'm not gonna worry about it. It'll be okay.
What's meant to be,
it'll
be.
We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, a lot of volleyball to come. A lot of traveling and hoping to get some more sponsors. We'd love to bring Jen along to our events, and that I know they can't be in the box at FIVB, but having someone there to help with film, help with warm ups, and she's really good for us. With our emotions on and off the court, just keeping everything like shit happens. how, like, that happened. How are we going to adjust? We're like on the court. It's like, okay, you passed it there. What was your technique? What was your form? Was your feet were your knees, your shoulder, whatever, all these different things. So that it's good that she's on us like that. And so we'll have a lot of time to build and work with her. But I mean, yeah, it's hard to plan these summers because 1, there's no AVP schedule, and 2, we don't know if we go and kick ass, we will move up, but then there's 28 days, the points don't get in, so it's hard to plan. Like, so we're just gonna sign up and get flexible, get good travel, and living out a suitcase. So
I like it.
Yeah,
just charge.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I know you guys mentioned that the odds, not in your favor, but TCU came into this football season unranked.
Hey, underdogs, baby.
And tomorrow they're playing for the national championship.
Yep.
You know,
never know.
we're actually working on a team name. So viewers,
Ooh.
if you guys got something, I know you guys haven't seen me play a lot of volley, but could be fun to send in some.
I like it.
We've thought about it a lot.
Please help us.
And not gotten very far.
We're not gonna say some of the names, but
they're not good.
they're not good.
We'll put out a call on Instagram to our listeners for team name nominations.
We need some creativity because I don't have any. So
Rodrimo.
That's probably the best one so far. You'd probably be good at this.
Okay, we're putting you on this mission.
I'll do some brainstorming.
That's good.
Perfect.
That's good. Why haven't we contacted us? We've been trying to do this all weekend.
We did it all
you were
wrong.
the guy.
We did it all wrong.
All right, we'll brainstorm team names. Tony, I'm excited to watch you get back on the sand. Happy that you have 2 healthy legs.
Thank you.
Sav, excited for you as well.
Thanks.
Let's have a good season, guys.
Let's have a good season, team.
Shoot.